I'm Janice Hossteger. After 3 decades in the marketing business and many years of being an entrepreneur, I've learned a thing or two about marketing. Join me as we talk about marketing, small business, and life in between. Welcome to My Weekly Marketing. When I started my first business, which was a design agency, I decided I was going to blog every week, rain or shine, no matter what, right? So I just remember every Wednesday night, because my blog post went on Thursday, I would sit in my office, dark outside, the kids were in bed, trying to hammer out a blog post. And what was really heartbreaking after putting all this time and energy into planning that blog post is that it wouldn't get read. So I really became determined how to figure out how to create a blog post that people actually read. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. There are more than 3 billion blog posts published annually worldwide. So you as a business owner might be wondering if it's even worth blogging. I think that we've all had experiences where we spent hours creating a blog only to have very few people read it. So in today's episode, I'm going to cover 9 tips that will create a blog post that people actually read. So you might be wondering if blogging is still a thing. So right now, it's late in 2024 when I'm recording this episode, and blogging is far from dead. And a study by Harris Interactive found that 62% of Americans say that they'd be more likely to visit a website if its blog content was more interesting and engaging. So that's kind of a clue, isn't it? We need to really focus on blog posts that people really want to read. So what does that mean for you? It means that there's a way to create blog posts that people turn to and even bookmark. Yeah, that's a thing. So quality content matters for a lot of things in your business. So you don't delegate it to the intern or freelancer who doesn't understand your business. Content is still king. And here's why it makes a difference. First off, SEO performance. High quality content helps blogs rank better on search engines and attract organic traffic through search terms. Before you start a blog article, do some keyword research on sites such as Moz.com or Ubersuggest.com, both of which have free plans, to find the exact words and phrases that are being searched for. Next, quality content matters for better user engagement. Valuable and informative content keeps readers on your site longer, leading to more interaction and conversions. Quality content builds trust because you deliver consistently insightful and accurate information that establishes you as an authority in your niche, making readers trust and return to your blog again and again. As more AI-generated content floods the web, original human-centered content becomes more important for standing out. And finally, thought leadership. Since you know your business backwards and forwards, sharing that information gives people a reason to seek you out when they want information. So blogging is definitely worth your time, even in 2024 and beyond. Okay, so let's dive into the 9 things that will create a blog post your customers will be dying to read. Ready? Okay, number 1, know your audience intimately. One of the biggest mistakes you can make is writing for everybody instead of a specific ideal customer. Successful bloggers create reader personas. If you're not sure what that is or how to create one, I have a free download for this very purpose that you can find a link to in my show notes for this episode or by visiting janicehossteger.com/customer. Suffice it to say, once you really know who that customer is, what their wants, their dreams, their desires, what they're looking for, it's going to be a whole lot easier to create content for that person. You can also conduct regular surveys, do research, and engage in conversations to learn exactly what the audience wants. After all, sometimes the easiest way to find out information is just to ask them, right? I also have more information about ideal customers in episode number 32 of My Weekly Marketing, and I'll put the link to that in the show notes also. Okay, number 2, create content pillars so you know exactly what to post. You have a lot of knowledge in your head, so sometimes it's hard to know exactly what people want to read about. That's where content pillars come to the rescue. So what I usually do is determine 3 to 5 broad categories of content that you want to write about. For example, if you're a health coach, maybe it's workouts and training, nutrition planning, and mindset and motivation. Maybe those are the three categories. So they are broad categories that you regularly coach clients on, and it's 3 areas that they really want to learn more about. So if you're not sure what those are, again, just ask them. From there, go ahead and create subcategories. For example, for nutrition planning, you might want to include healthy recipes, nutrition tips, and what kinds of supplements you recommend. From there, you can create a list of questions people like to ask about those subcategories. You can even use ChatGPT for this part. Things like, what type of supplement should I take when I'm training for a marathon? Or what's a quick, healthy green drink I can make every morning? So you see how easy that makes the process? Then you won't be staring at a blank screen wondering what to write each week. Okay, tip number 3, content planning and research. After you've created your content pillars, then it's time to map it all out. I recommend using a content calendar to stay consistent. I have my complete social media and content planner available for you to download, and I'll provide a link to that in the show notes as well. Before you start writing, perform in-depth keyword research using sites like Moz.com or Ubersuggest.com, but focus on providing value over strictly just looking at the search engine optimization. How-to content is still important, but unless it's something new, it isn't necessarily the content that's really going to get you the most clicks. There is simply too much how-to content out there, so unless you can provide new insights or a new spin on what people are already offering on their blog posts, you might consider other types of content. You can consider personal stories or case studies, behind the scenes, interviews, Q&As, product reviews, myth busting or debunking of myths, current trends and industry news, opinion or thought leadership. There's a lot of different types of content that you can come up with. These are just some ideas. Okay, that leads me right into step number 4, be original and unique. Copycat bloggers fall short because they lack fresh insights. So providing your own spin, your own methodology, or stories that of your personal experiences will set you apart from people who are really just talking about things on the surface level. Personalized stories make it also more authentic. Everyone is hardwired to love stories, and you'll never get these authentic life experiences from AI. What most people miss is balancing SEO with storytelling and making sure your user can apply it to their own life and their own unique experiences. That's why knowing your audience is so important as well. Okay, number 5, share your best high-quality, in-depth content. It seems counterintuitive in our busy world, but in-depth content actually wins out over quick tips, at least for blog posts, that is. Longer, well-researched posts of 2,000 words or more can often outperform short and superficial posts. Many bloggers focus on quantity over quality, so they want to put out as many blog posts as they possibly can in a short amount of time. But in fact, especially with AI content being used more and more, quality is going to be the winning element. But even though you may be writing in-depth content for most audience, keep the writing simple. Write at a 4th grade level. That's not because your audience isn't smart. It's because when we have to process longer sentences and larger words that we don't use every day, it actually burns calories and makes you tired. If you've ever had to read a scientific journal article, or if you're traveling abroad and had to translate what you're saying to a different language over an afternoon or a long period of time, you know what the kind of fatigue that I'm talking about. It's actually very tiring to have to think that hard. So keep it at a 4th grade reading level, keep it high quality and in depth. Okay, moving on to number 6. Include visual appeal and readability. Even though longer and in-depth is the winning formula for blog posts, many studies have shown that people really don't read online. They actually just skim content. Eye fatigue and text-heavy layouts discourage readers from reading your content. So make sure that you break content into digestible sections with headers, bullet points, and visuals like charts and infographics. As a former designer, I can tell you that heavy blocks of text really do discourage people from reading it. If you look at a web page or even a printed page with line after line of text and long paragraphs, it makes you want to walk away, right? So break it up. Use headlines and subheads, bullet points, images, and anything else to make it easy to digest. Okay, number 7, create compelling headlines and hooks. Successful bloggers master the art of creating clickable, curiosity-driven headlines. Unsure about how to create hooks and clickable headlines? I recommend a website called subjectline.com or ask ChatGPT for ideas. Often it can offer ideas that you haven't really thought of. Then test multiple headlines before deciding on the final one. If the headline isn't seductive enough to get the visitor to read the article, all your work was for nothing, right? Because nobody will read it. Also, see what's working for other people. With 3 billion blogs published each year, see what titles garner clicks for other people and kind of mine them on a spreadsheet. I keep a list of great hooks and titles that people use on their blogs, their podcasts, videos, and their other content. I keep it on a separate tab right in my content calendar spreadsheet. I don't copy them word for word, of course, but using the same format is a really good hack. Some titles and hooks are simply irresistible. For example, a headline like this works really well. It took me X years to learn this trick, but I will teach you in less than a minute. Or how about this one? 3 blank mistakes you're probably making and what to do instead. Pretty clickable, right? Try it out. It works. Okay. Number 8, build engagement and interactivity. I do understand why people turn off comments on blog posts. It can be a magnet for bots and spammers, but it's also a way to get feedback and engagement from a blog post. If you don't have your comments section turned on your blog, consider asking for feedback on social media or via email. The more feedback that you get, the more it helps you get to know your audience and what they want in the future. And it's the first step in building that relationship with them. To make a sale, you need to have that know, like, and trust factor taken care of. So the key to respond to every comment, and you can build that know, like, and trust factor. Your goal is to spark conversation. Most bloggers miss that part. Okay, finally, number 9, sharing, content promotion, and repurposing. After you've done the heavy lifting of writing, editing, choosing photos, and all the things, don't just publish it and let it sit. It's so important to share it far and wide. In fact, if you spend 1 hour producing a blog, spend 2 or 3 hours sharing it. Yep, it's that big of a deal. You can cross-promote on social media, of course, or in your newsletter. Actually, I'd recommend doing both of those. And you can either go to content aggregator sites like Flipboard or Mix. You can also partner with other bloggers for some cross-promotion and collaboration. Platforms such as Reddit and Quora provide places for you to share your expertise and provide links, but you want to make sure that it's helpful and answers the questions that people have. Sites like Medium also provide a good place to share engaging articles. I've noticed that Reddit especially is showing up in Google search results way more than it used to. So you might want to follow your appropriate subreddit and chime in when people have questions and share your content there. I like to have a checklist of places where I or my VA can share content after each podcast or blog post, and it just makes it a whole lot easier. Repurposing blog posts is also a really smart use of your time. Turning a blog post into a video, an infographic, or even a podcast down the road can extend its reach. You have created the content already, so you might as well get as much use out of it as you possibly can, right? So this is something that many people overlook, and that's promotion often requires more effort than the content creation itself. Okay, just a few more tips. First one is batch content. When I hear the word batching, I think of making cookies. And the same process applies to blogging. Batching is the best way to create multiple weeks of content. Planning ahead allows you to work ahead. When you're in the writing zone, then you can hammer out 2 or 3 blog posts in the afternoon. This also reduces the pressure of constantly having to write something new. Repurposing older content into new formats is also a good idea. Before diving into writing, create a solid outline. This helps organize your thoughts, saves time, and keeps you focused on the main points you want to cover. I know that this might be hard for some of you who are stream of consciousness writers, but once you have your outline done, you also have your subheads in place, and that makes Google happy. Next, leverage templates. I use blog templates like for listicle posts, reviews, or step-by-step guides to maintain structure and speed up the writing process. This also helps create consistency across your posts. If you have a team or freelancers, consider outsourcing tasks like editing, graphic design, or SEO optimization. This will save you time and allows you to focus on the writing itself. And finally, this is my last tip, keep a tab on what people like. Review the performance of your posts using tools like Google Analytics or Google Search Console. This helps you identify which topics resonate most with your audience. Then you can adjust your strategy. And that's it. Creating blog posts that people want to read is really not more than knowing your audience intimately, creating content pillars so you know what to post, content planning and research, being original and unique, sharing your best high quality and in-depth content while writing at a 4th grade level, including visual appeal and readability, creating compelling headlines and hooks, building engagement and interactivity, and sharing, promoting, and repurposing. And that's it. As always, I love that you're listening, but my goal here is to help you apply what you learn. So if you like these tips, drop me a DM on Instagram at Janice Hostegger Marketing and let me know. If you didn't like them, let me know that too. You can find all the show notes for today with all the links I talked about at myweeklymarketing.com/78. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.